podcast where truth moves faster than a Holstein calf. No waiting on some pretty page. We're charting new ground in the digital age. From genomic codes to roll-out facts, we cut through the noise, no holding back. Not your daddy's dairy news tonight. We're sparking debates with every insight. The ring's not where the real fight's at. It's in the data, in the channel chat. From pasture to processor to your morning cup, we're raising the stakes. Try and get ahead of herd. Yeah! Where the future's more than just a word. Ahead of herd. Come on! The bullvine's calling, let your voice be heard.
Welcome to the Bullvine Podcast, your source for cutting-edge dairy industry insights. I'm your host, bringing you the latest on dairy farm succession, emerging technologies, and sustainable farming strategies. Stay tuned as we explore the trends and solutions that help you build a thriving, profitable operation.
Welcome back to the Bullvine Podcast, the show that digs deep into the topics that matter to dairy producers.
That's right. Today, we're tackling a really interesting feature article from the Bullvine that's got everyone talking.
It has.
It's titled The Dairy Farm Time Bomb, Engineering Your Farm's Future. And it hits on a subject that, well, while it might be uncomfortable for many, it's absolutely critical for the longevity of family dairy operations. We're going to break it all down.
Exactly. And this isn't just about, the economics, although that's obviously a huge piece of the puzzle.
It's huge.
It's fundamentally about legacy. It's about community, the very fabric of rural life, really.
Yeah.
So our mission today is to cut through the noise, give you the surprising facts you need to know from the Bullvine article, and arm you with actionable insights that you can, actually act on.
Right.
Think of this deep dive as your essential guide to understanding the complexities of dairy farm succession. We want to help you see not just the challenges, but, the powerful path forward. Let's jump right in.
Okay, let's do it.
We're opening this discussion with an image that probably resonates deeply with many of you listening, perhaps stirring a familiar ache. That sinking feeling you get when you're walking through a parlor that's been sitting empty for months.
Yeah, you can almost smell it.
You can almost smell the old silage, right? Hear the phantom sounds of the vacuum pump. But those stalls will never see fresh cows again.
It's tough.
The Bullvine article starts right there, and it immediately sets a somber, relatable tone, connecting with the listener's deepest fears about the future of their own operation.
It does.
And then, boom, it hits us with a truly eye-opening statistic. 83% of family dairies won't survive to Generation 3.
83%. That's just, wow, a staggering figure, and it should certainly grab everyone's attention.
Absolutely should. And what makes that opening anecdote about the empty parlor so impactful is that it's not just a general feeling, right?
No, it's specific. The article goes on to recount a specific poignant conversation with Tom, who runs a third-generation operation up in central Wisconsin. Yep. We're talking about a solid 450 cow setup, respectable production, healthy margins, the kind of place you'd imagine would be milking cows for generations to come.
The kind you think is safe.
Exactly. And yet, Tom expresses this profound fear of vulnerability that I think many farmers can relate to. I might be the last one to milk on this land. Oof. Yeah. This isn't some basket case farm struggling to survive day to day. This is a well-established, successful operation facing the stark reality that without a proactive plan, its legacy could simply vanish.
Just disappear.
It really underscores that this crisis isn't confined to the struggling operations. It's hitting respectable, profitable farms that simply haven't formalized their future beyond the current generation. That, for me, is the truly haunting part.
That certainly puts a human face on the statistics. And speaking of statistics, the Bullvine article then plunges into what it calls the brutal math nobody wants to face.
Yeah, the numbers don't lie.
It presents figures from Iowa State University that are almost hard to believe. 83.5% of family dairies don't make it to the third generation. 83.5%.
It's almost unbelievable.
To put that in perspective, the article provocatively compares this failure rate to the restaurant business.
Right. And we all know how tough that is.
Exactly. We all know how incredibly challenging and high risk the restaurant industry is, with so many new places closing their doors within the first few years.
Yeah, turnover's huge.
But for dairy farms to have an even higher failure rate in terms of generational survival, That truly highlights the severity and maybe the systemic nature of this issue.
It does. It's not just a challenge, it's an existential threat for a vast majority of family operations. It makes you wonder, if so many are failing to transfer, what precisely are the underlying cracks in the foundation?
That's a crucial question, and the additional data points from the article only deepen the concern. Consider this. A chilling 71% of dairy farmers who are approaching retirement age haven't even identified a successor.
71%. That means a vast majority are just hoping someone will appear. Or maybe they're consciously avoiding the conversation altogether.
Could be. It feels like more than just procrastination. It seems like a systemic avoidance of a foundational business decision.
It really does. And for the minority, the 29% who actually do have succession plans in place. Get this. A mere 20% of those individuals believe their plans will actually work.
Only 20%.
Yeah.
That's not much confidence.
No. This isn't just a lack of planning, it's a profound lack of confidence in the strategies that are being pursued.
So even when there is a plan.
Right, even then there's doubt. It tells us that what's currently being done is largely perceived as ineffective, or at best, a gamble.
Yeah.
It suggests that many existing plans are maybe incomplete or unrealistic or simply not communicated effectively, leading to this deep-seated crisis of trust in the process itself.
Yeah.
It's not just about kicking the can down the road, it feels like a fundamental flaw in how these transitions are being approached.
And this leads us directly to what the Bullvine article aptly calls the demographic avalanche.
Yeah, that's a good term for it.
And the undeniable trend of industry consolidation. The numbers here are stark. They paint a really clear picture of transformation.
Lay it on it.
Okay, between 2017 and 2022, we saw a loss of 15,866 dairy operations across the U.S.
15,000. Almost 16,000 farms gone.
That's a staggering 39% decline in just 5 years. Think about that for a moment. Nearly 40% of operations simply vanished in half a decade.
That's not just attrition. That feels like a mass exodus.
It does. But here's the paradox that the article immediately points out, which makes this even more complex.
Okay.
During that same 5-year period, total milk production in the U.S. actually increased by 5%.
Increased with fewer farms.
Yeah. So if thousands of farms are disappearing, but production is going up, where's all that milk coming from? Where's the wealth of the industry concentrating?
That's the crucial question, isn't it? And the answer, as highlighted by the Bullvine article, is pretty clear. It's coming from the mega dairies.
The big guys getting bigger.
Exactly. The analysis points out that operations with 2,500 cows or more grew by an impressive 16.8% in that same time frame.
Wow. Nearly 17% growth for the largest farms.
And here's the kicker. These mega dairies now control a staggering 46% of national milk production. Almost half.
46%. From the largest tier.
Yeah. This isn't just typical industry consolidation. It's what the article describes as a slow motion transfer of an entire industry's wealth.
Slow motion transfer. That's a good phrase.
As smaller, often unprepared family farms close their doors, whether it's retirement without a successor, financial strain, or just the mental burden their assets, their quota, their production capacity, even their land, it's getting absorbed by larger, expanding neighbors.
So the unprepared are feeding the growth of the prepared, in a way.
That's a stark way to put it, but yeah. It's a powerful illustration of how the industry's economic pie is being sliced and redistributed, and it's happening right before our eyes. Often without smaller farms realizing they're becoming part of someone else's expansion plan rather than securing their own continuity.
Yeah.
It's a compelling economic force that unprepared farms are simply, unable to withstand.
And fueling this demographic avalanche, as the Bullvine article details, is the undeniable reality of an aging workforce.
Right. The graying of the industry.
Data from the Federal Reserve Bank of Minneapolis really paints a stark picture here. Producers age 55 and over now comprise nearly 2/3 of all operators in major dairy regions.
2/3.
To put that in perspective, that's a huge leap from just 44% back in 2002.
Big jump.
Even more concerning, a full 1/3 of these operators are already 65 or older.
A third are already past traditional retirement age.
This isn't some distant future problem. It's happening right now. It demands immediate, decisive attention. The hands that are currently running many of these operations are literally approaching or are already beyond traditional retirement age.
And indeed, the latest industry surveys reinforce this. They reveal that 25% of all dairy operators plan to retire within the next 5 years.
A quarter in 5 years. That's fast.
It is. Digging deeper into that group, 22% are already over 65, and another 28% are between 55 and 64. So over half of those planning to retire are already in or nearing traditional retirement age.
Wow.
But what's truly alarming, and what the Bullvine article emphasizes, is the pipeline of young producers. It's described as practically non-existent.
Ouch. No one coming up behind them.
Very few. In New York, for instance, a major dairy state, the number of young producers under 35 actually declined from about 6,700 in 2017 to just over 6,300 in 2022.
So the number's going down, not up.
Exactly. This isn't just about an aging workforce. It's about a critical lack of new blood, of fresh energy and ideas entering the industry when innovation and adaptability are more crucial than ever.
That's worrying.
What's also fascinating from the article's analysis of Wisconsin data is the clear correlation between economic scale and succession planning success.
Oh, how sad.
Well, only 38% of smaller operations, those with 49 cows, have identified successors. Compare that to a much healthier 69% for commercial dairies with 999 cows.
So bigger farms are much more likely to have a successor lined up.
Yeah, significantly more likely. This suggests that farms with more economic robustness are better positioned to even begin the complex and often costly succession planning process.
Right, they have the resources, maybe the headspace.
Exactly. And that creates a widening gap between the haves and the have-nots in terms of future viability.
So what does this all mean for the broader agricultural landscape? Well, it leads us to an absolutely staggering figure that, as the Bullvine article notes, is largely flying under everyone's radar, the $24 trillion wealth transfer.
24 trillion.
With a T.
With a T. We're talking about over $24 trillion in agricultural assets that are expected to change hands over the next 2 decades.
That's almost incomprehensible.
It is. To truly put that in perspective, by 2045, 40% of all U.S. farmland, that's roughly 370 million acres, is expected to change hands.
40% of all farmland.
Wow. For dairy families, this isn't just a big number. It represents the largest intergenerational wealth movement in American history. It's unprecedented, and it speaks to the immense financial and legacy stakes involved in succession for individual operations and, really, for the entire sector.
And here's where the Bullvine article introduces a truly fascinating estate tax plot twist that almost nobody in the agricultural community saw coming.
A plot twist. Okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, and it significantly alters the playing field. For years, the industry has been consumed by the fear of a looming tax cliff, right?
Right, the exemption was set to drop way down in 2026. Exactly. Estate exemptions were set to drop significantly on January 1st, 2026, from around $13.99 million per individual down to roughly $7 million. Farm families and their advisors have been scrambling, making hurried decisions based on this impending deadline.
Lots of stress around that.
Huge stress. But the article reveals a game changer. President Trump signed the One Big Beautiful Bill Act into law on July 4, 2025.
Wait, seriously, I missed that. What does it do?
This new legislation permanently increases the estate tax exemption to $15 million per individual, starting January 1st, 2026, and it's indexed for inflation.
$15 million permanent.
Per person, which means married couples can now transfer up to $30 million tax-free.
$30 million? That's massive. That changes everything for a lot of farms.
It's monumental. The 40% tax rate on amounts above that exemption still remains, but yeah, this effectively removes one of the most significant and most talked about financial barriers to succession planning, that dreaded tax cliff everyone was panicking about.
So one less thing to worry about, financially speaking?
One major thing, however, and the Bullvine article stresses this point critically, it does not negate the fundamental need for comprehensive succession planning.
Okay. So it helps, but it doesn't solve the whole problem.
Exactly. You still need professional teams. You still need open family communication. You still need strategic structures. This tax relief just removes one major barrier, but the others, particularly the psychological, emotional, and operational ones, they remain fully in play.
Right.
It buys time and removes a specific stressor, but the work is still very much there.
So what does the current market look like as all of this is unfolding? The Bullvine article gives us a crucial reality check.
Yeah. How are things financially right now?
Well, the financial landscape we're operating in right now is actually more positive than many might have expected going into 2025. USDA's latest projections show all milk prices ranging from a solid $21.60 to $22.74 per hundredweight for 2025.
Okay, that's pretty stable, generally favorable territory.
Right. Class 3 futures are trading around $18.70 per hundredweight. While there are always nuances, both signals point to relatively stable conditions.
Good. And feed costs?
Feed costs are running about 13% lower than they were in 2024.
13% lower. That's a significant relief for margins.
Definitely. And interest rates are cooperating better, as the article puts it, than they have in a while, making financing more accessible.
Okay, that helps too.
Even January 2025 milk production was up slightly, 0.1%, with cow numbers increasing by 41,000 head. All of sounds like welcome news, suggesting a bit of breathing room for producers, right?
It absolutely sounds like good news, and for well-positioned farms, it undeniably is. But here's the crucial paradox that the Bullvine article reveals, turning what might seem like a calm period into a potential time bomb.
A time bomb.
Because these improved economics are actually creating immense opportunities for well-positioned operations to expand.
The strong get stronger.
Precisely. And that expansion, in turn, accelerates the succession crisis for families who are unprepared.
Okay, explain that.
Think of it this way. When times are good, a strong, well-run farm can leverage that profitability to grow, to invest in new tech, to acquire additional assets or quota.
Makes sense.
If a neighboring farm is struggling with succession or simply hasn't put a solid plan in place, these good times make them an incredibly attractive acquisition target for those looking to grow.
So good times for some means increased risk for others who aren't ready.
Exactly. So while stability might seem like a time to relax for the unprepared, it can actually be a time bomb, potentially speeding up their absorption into larger operations rather than ensuring their own continuity.
Wow.
This means that now, with these favorable economic wins, planning is not just important, it's urgent. It's a strategic move to either, grow or be grown into.
That certainly flips the script on what might be perceived as a comfortable period. And that brings us to segment 2, where we shift focus from the external pressures and alarming statistics to the internal, often unseen barriers.
Right, this stuff happening inside the farm gate, inside the family.
Exactly. Barriers that prevent even smart, profitable farms from surviving. The Bullvine article poses a profound question. Why do profitable, respected operations still dissolve?
Yeah, why?
And its answer is quite blunt and revealing. They thought succession planning was something they'd handle when the time comes.
The classic procrastination trap.
It's a mental block, a procrastination that, unfortunately, often proves fatal.
It truly is a profound mental block that's killing farms, as the Bullvine article puts it. And the planning gap is startling.
How bad is it?
Well, FarmDoc Daily reports that 56% of farms say they're involved in some form of succession planning.
Okay, over half. That sounds okay.
But only 40% have actually defined written plans. And perhaps most sobering, even among those with plans, remember that stat, a mere 20% actually believe their plans will work.
Still shocking. It's not just inefficiency, it's a deep-seated crisis of confidence in the process itself.
Exactly. But what might surprise you, and what the article highlights so powerfully, is that the biggest succession killers aren't primarily financial, as we often assume.
Really? Not money?
Not primarily. They are profoundly psychological. The very mindset that creates successful operations, that total commitment, the personal sacrifice, the work until the job is done mentality, the ingrained grit, it actually works against the emotional and relational work needed for succession planning.
How so?
Well, we're essentially asking people who've built their entire identity around never giving up, around constant vigilance and control, to plan for what feels like giving up control or relinquishing their identity.
Letting go, that's hard.
It's incredibly hard. This identity conflict is far more debilitating than a balance sheet. Often.
And the Bullvine article really brings this home with an incredibly poignant anecdote.
Yeah, tell us about Sarah.
Okay, take Sarah, a producer known to the author in Minnesota. She runs a third-generation, 380-cow operation, solid margins year after year. By all accounts, a successful, well-managed farm.
Sounds like it.
Yet, she spent 3 years actively avoiding the succession conversation.
3 years? Why?
Because she couldn't face the possibility of being the one who lost the farm.
Wow, the weight of that legacy.
Exactly. That avoidance, that deep-seated fear of perceived failure, or the undoing of her family's legacy, nearly became a self-fulfilling prophecy when her father had a stroke with no formal transition plan in place.
Oh, no. What
happened? They scrambled, they got it figured out, but it was a terrifyingly close call. And it powerfully illustrates how deeply ingrained this psychological barrier is for many producers.
Yeah.
It's not just about business acumen. It's about identity, self-worth, and the weight of generational expectations.
That's a powerful illustration, and it points to a systemic issue rooted in the very core of what makes a farmer successful.
Right, the paradox.
Yeah, the intensity of commitment required to make a farm thrive paradoxically creates a blind spot when it comes to the emotional work of letting go and planning for the future. And this psychological burden connects directly to a critical, often ignored reality. The mental health crisis we often pretend doesn't exist within the agricultural community.
Yeah, this is a tough topic, but so important.
It really is. The Bullvine article presents grim statistics that demand our attention. Farmers experience suicide rates 3.5 times higher than the general population.
3.5 times higher. That's horrifying.
It is. And critically, succession-related stress is explicitly identified as a primary contributing factor. More specific CDC data cited shows male farmers have suicide rates of 36.1 per 100,000, which is 1.6 times higher than all other working males.
These aren't just numbers. They represent immense suffering, quiet battles fought by individuals shouldering incredible responsibility.
Absolutely.
It truly hits close to home for many of us in the industry, and it's a conversation that needs to happen more openly. The Bullvine article further underscores why this is such a silent crisis.
Yeah, what makes it worse?
A staggering 41% of dairy farmers don't have health insurance.
41% lack health insurance. That makes accessing mental health resources incredibly difficult, if not impossible, for many.
Exactly. On top of that, 76% of farmers report moderate to high stress levels, a figure that far exceeds the general population.
76%. Wow.
The article points to 5 key areas where family tensions consistently explode during succession, often turning difficult conversations into intractable conflicts.
Okay, what are they?
Finances, communication, inheritance, change, and perhaps most critically, control.
Control. Yeah, that makes sense.
At the heart of most failures, it notes, is the impossible challenge of trying to treat all heirs equally versus what is truly fair in the context of a working business.
Yeah, the equal versus fair dilemma, that's huge.
It is. And the cultural barrier is immense. 63% of farmers acknowledge mental health stigma in their community.
So people feel they can't talk about it, can't seek help.
Right. This creates a powerful cultural resistance that keeps people suffering in silence, precisely when they need professional help navigating what is often the most complex and emotionally charged business transition of their lives.
And this leads to a cruel irony that the Bullvine article highlights.
What's that?
The very state of mind induced by succession pressure, that existential dread, the chronic stress, the fear of losing everything, the constant worry about making the wrong decision, it actively prevents farmers from undertaking the emotionally taxing process of planning.
So the stress stops them from dealing with the source of the stress. A vicious cycle.
Exactly. It creates a vicious cycle. The stress makes them avoid the conversation, and avoiding the conversation amplifies the stress, leading to more avoidance and so on.
Ugh.
It's a self-perpetuating problem that only proactive, intentional intervention can break. And this emotional burden isn't just on the senior generation. Research shows the younger generation involved often experiences even higher stress levels.
Oh, really?
Yeah, caught between respecting their parents' legacy and trying to forge their own path. It's a complex web of emotions that must be acknowledged and addressed.
And this emotional avoidance inevitably leads to what the Bullvine article terms the communication breakdown that destroys everything.
Yeah, if you don't talk, things fall apart.
When farm families avoid discussing succession, often keeping their plans secret until a crisis like a sudden death, a serious illness, or even an unexpected market downturn forces the issue.
Which is the absolute worst.
Exactly. It breeds resentment, misunderstanding, and conflict at the absolute worst possible time. Imagine trying to make complex financial and emotional decisions under duress and grief. It's a recipe for disaster.
It certainly is, and the data backs this up. A 2023 study by researchers from Purdue University highlights this devastating consequence.
What do they find?
They found that a shocking 22% of farm owners who inherited their business ultimately felt the transfer was unsuccessful.
22% felt it failed after inheriting. Wow.
Yeah. And the most cited reason, the process and outcomes simply weren't what they expected.
Expectations not met.
Exactly. This is clear, quantifiable evidence of the long-term devastating damage caused by poor communication and a lack of shared vision from the outset.
Makes sense.
The Bullvine article paints a vivid picture of this messy reality. a father wanting to treat all his kids equally, but that equal division means the on-farm successor has to take on massive, potentially crippling debt to buy out siblings.
Right, burdening the one keeping the farm going.
Meanwhile, non-farming kids feel guilty asking for their share, but also don't want to be left out of their family's hard-earned wealth.
A tough spot for them, too.
And mom, often caught in the middle, trying to keep everyone happy, becomes the central point of stress.
Oh.
It's a scenario that plays out at kitchen tables and in conference rooms across dairy country every single day, often with heartbreaking consequences that fragment families and dissolve operations.
This brings us to another unseen yet incredibly potent barrier. The generational divide that's killing transitions.
Ah, yes, the generation gap.
It's real. The Bullvine article emphasizes that what's happening between generations isn't just about different opinions on technology or work schedules.
It's deeper than that.
Yeah. These are fundamental shifts in values, expectations, and definitions of success that, if not proactively addressed, can be absolute deal breakers for a successful transition. It goes deeper than simple preferences.
That's a critical distinction. These generational differences are not just minor disagreements. They are deeply rooted in changing cultural landscapes and economic realities. Let's look at 3 key areas identified by the article.
Okay.
First, there's the technology expectation gap, which is only getting wider and rapidly so.
How wide?
Well, the next generation of farmers doesn't view precision agriculture and automation as optional upgrades or expensive luxuries. They see them as the expected foundation of any competitive, viable operation.
So it's table stakes for them.
Pretty much.
Yep.
They anticipate seamless data integration, automated decision-making processes, advanced herd health monitoring, precision nutrition management, all of it.
Right.
The Bullvine article provides a fantastic anecdote about a 28-year-old successor in Minnesota who wanted to install a Delaval VMS system.
Robotic milkers.
Yeah.
Big investment.
Yeah. State-of-the-art robotic milking system costs around $180,000 per unit. His 58-year-old father, understandably, was skeptical, saying, "We've milked cows for 40 years without robots."
Sounds familiar.
But the son's crucial retort was, "Dad, we've also struggled through margin squeezes for 40 years doing things the old way."
Ooh, good point.
Yeah. For Gen Z operators, the expectation is that technology should work seamlessly and effectively from the start. If it's not intuitive and immediately value-adding, it gets abandoned quickly.
So it's not just preference. It's about efficiency, labor, and work-life balance.
Absolutely. It's about efficiency, significant labor solutions, and, critically, achieving better work-life balance in an industry known for its relentless demands.
That makes perfect sense. If technology isn't immediately contributing to a better quality of life and better margins, it's seen as a hindrance. What's the next point in this generational divide?
The second area is the sustainability-profitability tension.
Ah, the green versus the black, so to speak.
Kind of. Younger farmers generally align philosophically with sustainable practices. They view themselves as stewards of the land, responsible for preserving resources, and often see environmental stewardship as a core value.
Okay, that's good.
However, this philosophical alignment is quickly tempered by economic reality. Farm Journal surveys cited in the article show that only 40% of young farmers would adopt sustainable practices without clear, demonstrable financial incentives.
Only 40% without incentives.
And only 27% view carbon markets as a viable source of income diversification for their operations.
So the willingness is there, but the economics have to work.
Exactly. This highlights a critical ROI of change dilemma. The next generation is absolutely willing to embrace more sustainable practices, but the farm's cash flow absolutely must support that transition, and the financial returns need to be clear and measurable.
Right.
So while the desire is there, the economic viability has to be proven, which can create significant tension during succession discussions, particularly when investment is needed for both sustainability initiatives and for the transition itself.
Yeah, where does the money go first?
It becomes a question of what the farm can afford to prioritize.
That certainly creates a tricky balance. And what about the third and arguably most significant cultural shift?
The third and perhaps most significant cultural shift highlighted in the Bullvine article is the expectation of work-life balance, the non-negotiable.
Ah, the big one.
Oh.
No more 247, 365.
While the expectation is changing, the traditional ethos of farming as an all-consuming 24/7 lifestyle where personal time is always secondary to farm needs is being fundamentally challenged by the next generation.
And it's not just a preference.
No. The article emphasizes that it has become a critical economic factor in succession decisions.
Economic factor. How?
Because the relentless, round-the-clock demands of dairy farming are significant deterrents for potential successors and a leading cause of burnout and mental health challenges among those who do commit.
Makes sense. It drives people away.
Right. A farm that cannot offer a reasonable quality of life, one that allows for family time, personal interests, or even just adequate sleep, is effectively uncompetitive in the modern talent market, even when the potential employee is a family member.
Wow, even for family.
Yeah. The article highlights producers who have lost potential successors, not because the farm wasn't profitable or the young person wasn't interested in agriculture, but because they couldn't figure out how to run the operation without requiring 80-hour weeks year-round from everyone involved.
80-hour weeks?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's not sustainable.
It's not. This is a management problem, yes, but it's one that succession planning must address head-on, or the farm won't attract anyone capable of sustaining it, family or not. It's about building a farm that's both profitable and livable.
Okay, so we've talked about the alarming reality facing family dairies and the often unseen internal barriers. Now let's transition to solutions.
Good. Let's talk about what actually works.
The Bullvine article makes a powerful assertion. Succession isn't about avoiding problems or hoping for the best. It's about systematically engineering solutions years before they're needed.
Right, being proactive, intentional, strategic. Exactly. The families who are successfully beating these daunting odds, who are transferring their farms to the next generation, they share implementable characteristics.
It's not luck.
No, it's not about luck or simply being in the right place at the right time. It's about strategy and foresight. The article outlines a comprehensive toolkit for thriving transitions, starting with a strategy that many aren't familiar with, but is gaining significant traction and proving highly effective: asset bifurcation.
Okay, let's dive into asset bifurcation. The Bullvine article calls it brilliant. What exactly does that mean, and what makes it such an innovative approach?
It means strategically splitting the farm's assets into two distinct legal structures.
Splitting them up.
Yeah, instead of attempting to transfer the entire operation as one massive, often debt-crushing and financially overwhelming transaction for the next generation.
Okay, how does that work practically?
Here's how it works. The senior generation maintains an asset holding company that owns the valuable, typically appreciating assets like the land and major facilities.
So mom and dad keep the land company.
Right. Meanwhile, the successor generation operates a separate entity, an operating company, that runs the daily dairy operations, leasing the facilities and land from the holding company.
Ah, so the next generation leases the farm from the parent's company.
Exactly. This structure is brilliant because it achieves multiple objectives simultaneously and elegantly.
Like what?
Well, first, it provides a steady, reliable retirement income for the parents through those lease payments, securing their financial future without burdening them with the day-to-day operations.
Okay, income for mom and dad. Good.
Second, it significantly reduces the capital requirements for the successors, making the transition financially feasible by not forcing them to buy land and cows all at once.
Makes it easier for the kids to get started. Check.
And crucially, it offers opportunities for non-farming heirs to maintain ownership interests in the land or assets within the holding company.
So the non-farm kids can still benefit.
Yeah, providing them with a share of the family wealth without interfering with the day-to-day operations of the farm.
That handles the fair versus equal thing, maybe?
It's a direct, practical answer to that equal versus fair dilemma that so often undermines family transitions by trying to force an impossible division of a working business. The article calls it elegant, tax efficient.
Elegant, I like that.
Canadian legal experts have advocated for this model for years, and interestingly, the Bullvine article notes its success for both smaller 150 cow operations and much larger 1,500 cow operations.
So it's versatile.
Remarkably versatile across different scales of dairy farming.
That's a truly innovative approach to de-risk the transition financially and manage family expectations. And the Bullvine article moves right into technology-enabled succession planning, which it calls new territory.
Right, using tech to smooth the path.
How are progressive operations using investments in technology to justify succession planning expenses and demonstrate long-term viability to the next generation, making the farm an attractive future?
This is where data truly empowers decision-making and, frankly, smooths over emotional hurdles.
Data over drama.
Hopefully. The article highlights that farms achieving significant milk production efficiency gains, think 25-30% improvements through precision ag tools and automated milking systems, can directly justify the substantial investments required for transition.
How? by showing the payback.
Exactly. They do this by showing how these technologies don't just reduce labor costs, but fundamentally improve underlying profitability and cash flow. That improved profitability then directly helps service any transition-related debt, making the whole deal more attractive to a successor.
Makes its numbers work.
Right. Even more specifically, the Bovine article points to genomic selection programs, noting a 0.43 heritability for feed efficiency.
Okay, break that down. High heritability means genetics matter a lot for feed efficiency.
Precisely. A 0.43 heritability means nearly half of the variation in feed efficiency among animals is attributable to their genes. It offers a powerful, measurable lever for improvement.
And the ROI.
These programs are delivering measurable return on investment within remarkably short 24-month breeding cycles.
Wow, that's fast for genetic progress.
It is. This gives families concrete, objective data to support succession decisions. When you can demonstrate to a potential successor with hard numbers that technology adoption directly improves margins, reduces inputs, and significantly improves quality of life by reducing labor demands.
Then the conversation changes.
Yeah, the succession conversation becomes significantly easier, more businesslike, and less emotional. It shifts from, do we trust this next generation, to here's the proven ROI for our future viability and their work-life balance.
That's a powerful way to bring data into what's often a very emotional discussion, providing a rational basis for critical decisions. And beyond technology, the Bovine article emphasizes that creative financing is becoming essential.
Yeah, the old ways aren't always enough.
What kinds of tools are being utilized to make these multi-million-dollar transfers feasible for the next generation?
Well, the toolkit is rapidly expanding beyond traditional bank loans, which, frankly, often can't handle the scale of a modern dairy farm transfer.
So what else is there?
Life insurance policies, for example, are increasingly being used as flexible financial instruments.
Life insurance. How?
They can offer tax-free liquidity that can be used to cover potential estate taxes or, critically, to ensure non-farming heirs receive fair inheritances without forcing the sale of farm assets or burdening the on-farm successor with excessive debt.
Okay, using insurance for liquidity and fairness.
Smart.
Revocable living trusts are another powerful tool, helping families avoid complex and often costly probate complications.
It's avoiding probate. That's always good.
And these trusts also enable gradual successor buyouts with manageable terms and conditions that can be adjusted over time as circumstances change, providing flexibility.
Flexibility is key. We're also seeing more structured lease-to-own agreements where the successor leases assets with an option to purchase over time.
Like renting to own the farm.
Sort of. Also, seller financing, where the retiring generation essentially becomes the bank for the new generation.
Okay.
And revenue sharing structures, where the successor receives a percentage of farm income as they work towards ownership.
Lots of options.
These are all designed to address the significant capital constraints that often derail conventional transitions by spreading out the financial burden. The farm credit system, as the Bovine article notes, has developed deep expertise in this area.
Do you see it all the time, I bet?
They do. They offer specialized consulting services and loan products specifically designed for intergenerational transfers that traditional commercial banks might not offer or fully understand. They are seeing this succession crisis firsthand and are actively responding with creative tools that many families don't even realize exist as viable options.
Beyond financial and structural tools, the Bovine article really hones in on the human element, specifically professional development that actually matters for the next generation.
Right, investing in the people.
What kind of high-level programs are out there and what makes them so impactful?
There's a robust and growing ecosystem of programs designed to equip the next generation with the leadership and business skills needed to lead modern dairy businesses.
Not just farming skills, but business skills.
Exactly. These go beyond just technical farm management. They encompass leadership, financial acumen, strategic thinking, communication, and even industry advocacy.
Yeah, give us some examples.
The Holstein Foundation's Young Dairy Leaders Institute, or YDLI, is widely regarded as a premier national leadership program.
Heard of that one.
It's an intensive year-long program for young adults aged 22-45, focusing heavily on developing soft skills, things like interpersonal communication, team building, media training, industry advocacy.
Skills you need everywhere.
Right. This prepares them not just to run a farm, but to be effective leaders and communicators within their families, their communities, and the broader industry. Cornell University also offers comprehensive dairy programs.
Cornell's big in dairy.
Yeah, from their junior and beginning dairy leader programs for high school students, giving them early exposure, to the Cornell Dairy Executive Program, which focuses on high-level strategic business planning, financial management, and HR for established and aspiring managers.
Sounds great, but is there a downside?
Well, the Bullvine article offers an important critique. These programs, while excellent, often attract the most progressive and motivated individuals, typically from larger, more stable operations that can afford to send them.
So the ones who need it most might not get there.
There's a risk that these valuable efforts might primarily benefit farms already most likely to succeed, potentially widening the gap between well-prepared and unprepared operations, leaving a segment of the industry behind.
That's a critical point to consider. So while formal education is vital, it can't be the only piece of the puzzle. What about mentorship programs that transfer real knowledge?
Yeah, the hands-on stuff.
Especially that crucial tacit knowledge that often can't be taught in a classroom.
Absolutely. The article stresses that formal education and workshops, while essential for foundational knowledge, simply cannot replace the value of hands-on real-world experience and what's called tacit knowledge transfer.
Tacit knowledge, like
Yeah.
the gut feeling stuff.
Exactly. This is the intuitive, experience-based wisdom, the feel for a cow, the timing of decision, the nuanced understanding of a specific piece of land or climate that's absolutely crucial for successful farm management.
You can't learn that from a book.
Nope. The Dairy Grazing Apprenticeship, or DGA, is a fantastic example of a program addressing this directly. It's a formal 2-year program registered as a national apprenticeship that specifically pairs aspiring pasture-based dairy farmers with experienced mentor graziers.
So learning by doing with a guide.
Right. Full-time, on-farm employment and comprehensive training, offering a clear pathway to farm management and even ownership. Another innovative example is a Canadian Cattle Young Leaders program.
What do they do?
It pairs 16 participants aged 1835 with hand-picked mentors in specific areas of interest relevant to their own operations. Participants even get a $3,000 budget, thanks to Cargill funding, for learning opportunities like travel and industry events, with the formal mentorship running for 9 months.
That sounds really practical.
These programs recognize that true knowledge transfer often happens through direct, sustained, real-world experience, guided by someone who has lived it and can impart not just facts, but wisdom.
So it's about combining formal education with practical, real-world guidance and truly holistic support. And speaking of guidance, the Bullvine article states emphatically, you can't do this alone when it comes to building your support network.
That's huge. Don't try to wing it.
It directly warns against trying to DIY succession planning. Why is that such a critical warning?
That's a huge takeaway, and one that often separates successful transitions from failed ones. The Bullvine article argues that the difference often boils down to the quality and coordination of professional support, far more than just family dynamics or financial resources alone.
So the team matters more than anything.
In many ways, yes. Trying to DIY modern succession planning is, frankly, one of the biggest and most costly mistakes families make.
Okay, so who should be on the team?
Well, the Kansas State 12-step model, for instance, provides a proven framework that starts not with legal documents, but with identifying core family values and individual goals before moving into technical analysis and formal planning.
Values first, then logistics.
Exactly. Its strength lies in insisting on building a shared vision foundation first, ensuring everyone is aligned on the why before tackling the complex legal and financial how.
Makes sense. So the team.
The article identifies the truly essential coordinated team you need. Specialized agricultural attorneys.
Got it. Legal expertise.
Farm-focused accountants.
Numbers, people who get farming.
And neutral facilitators or family business consultants to guide those often difficult, emotionally charged family conversations.
Someone to help manage the personalities.
Absolutely. The investment in this team, the article asserts, pays for itself many times over by helping you avoid the costly mistakes and family ruptures that destroy transitions.
Good ROI on that investment.
And for farms without direct family successors, alternative ownership models are gaining traction, like community land trusts and conservation land trusts.
How do those help?
These innovative structures separate the prohibitive land costs from the manageable operating businesses, creating opportunities for non-family successors while simultaneously preserving agricultural use of the land. It offers another path to legacy.
That's a truly comprehensive approach, emphasizing the team effort involved. It seems like the U.S. dairy industry could also learn valuable lessons from other countries tackling similar challenges. The Bullvine article points to international models we should be copying.
Yeah, what are others doing that we're not?
What are some compelling examples?
Well, the challenge of farm succession isn't unique to the U.S. It's a global issue for many mature agricultural economies. And other nations have developed innovative policy responses we can definitely learn from.
Like Ireland.
Ireland, for instance, has a succession planning advice grant. This forward-thinking program directly subsidizes professional planning services.
They help pay for the advisors.
Exactly. Thereby addressing the very real cost and complexity barriers that often prevent families from even starting the process. This stands in stark contrast to the current U.S. approach, which tends to provide support after a transition plan is already in motion, rather than directly catalyzing the creation of the plan itself.
So Ireland helps get the ball rolling.
Right. New Zealand offers another compelling model. They emphasize extended apprenticeship periods for successors with robust frameworks built on clear communication, shared vision, and systematic capability building.
Longer transitions, more structured.
Yeah, they've recognized a fundamental truth. Successful transitions require years of deliberate preparation, capability transfer, and relationship building, not crisis-driven decisions made in haste when a senior generation is ready to retire.
Planning ahead, seriously ahead.
These international examples really demonstrate that proactive policy and a laser focus on the planning process itself, rather than just the financial outcome, can lead to significantly more successful and less stressful transitions.
So what's the takeaway for the U.S.?
The Bullvine article concludes that the U.S. currently lacks comprehensive federal policy that directly incentivizes the creation of a succession plan. That's highlighted as a significant gap in our overall strategy to address this looming crisis.
Okay, so after all that insight, we come to the urgent call to action. The Bullvine article doesn't pull any punches, and it's your 90-day emergency action plan.
Time to get serious.
It delivers a direct challenge. If you're reading this without a formal written succession plan that all family members understand and support, you're statistically destined to join the 83.5% of families who lose everything they've built.
Ugh. That's blunt. A true wake-up call.
It is, but it's immediately followed by reassurance. Any operation, regardless of its current size or challenges, can begin to implement the characteristics of the survivors.
That's the critical pivot. It's presented as a 90-day emergency action plan built on hard data designed to move people from paralysis and fear to decisive action.
Okay, break it down, weeks 1 to 2.
The first phase, weeks 1 to 2, focuses on emergency assessment and professional team building. You need to start with an honest family assessment of your succession readiness.
Facing the reality.
Yeah. The most frequently cited barriers from Wisconsin surveys, for example, are having no successor, 20% of respondents, and the financial capacity of the dairy farm. Only 1% cited this as the only barrier, implying other issues are bigger.
So figure out the real roadblocks.
Right. If you don't have clear answers to fundamental questions like these, that's your starting point. Don't overthink it, just get the conversation started. Crucially, in these first 2 weeks, you need to identify and engage that professional advisory team.
Lawyer, accountant, facilitator.
Exactly. The specialized agricultural attorney, the farm-focused accountant, the family business consultant, and schedule a comprehensive asset valuation because modern dairies have complex value structures, tech, genetics, intangibles, not just land and cows.
Okay, weeks 3-6.
Then in weeks 3-6, the focus shifts to communication framework development. This is where a lot of the emotional work the Bullvine article talked about comes into play, setting the stage for honest, ongoing dialogue.
Setting up the family meetings.
Absolutely. And this phase is where most families get stuck if they don't have a structured approach. It's about implementing structured family meeting protocols, and if needed, bringing in professional facilitation.
Don't be afraid to get help facilitating.
Definitely not. You need to begin successor identification and development assessment, understanding your aspirations, skills, commitment. And critically, you need to proactively address mental health resources and stress management strategies for everyone involved.
Because it's going to be stressful.
Because the Bullvine article acknowledges that this process is going to be emotionally taxing for all. Remember that Purdue study? 22% felt the transfer failed due to unmet expectations from poor communication and lack of shared vision.
Right.
This phase is about proactively building that shared understanding, those clear expectations, and that collective vision to prevent long-term damage and resentment. It's about opening the lines of communication before a crisis forces them open.
Makes sense. Moving into week 7-12, the plan turns to strategic structure design. What's involved here? Setting up the practical framework.
Exactly. Here you begin to model asset bifurcation scenarios, leveraging those new, more generous estate tax exemptions from the One Big Beautiful Bill Act.
Using that $15 million exemption strategically.
Right. You evaluate alternative financing and ownership structures we talked about earlier, seeing which combination best fits your family's unique financial situation and goals. With that permanent $15 million exemption, you do have significantly more breathing room, removing a major financial fear.
But you still need the structure.
But the article stresses that you still need proper structure to navigate the complexities of multi-generational wealth transfer. The crucial point here is that current economic conditions, stable milk prices, lower feed costs, favorable interest rates create a truly unique window of opportunity for proactive planning.
Strike while the iron is hot, basically.
Exactly. These favorable conditions, the Bullvine article warns, won't exist indefinitely. This makes action now, during this period of relative stability and profitability, particularly impactful and strategic. It's a chance to build a resilient future from a position of strength, not desperation.
And the Bullvine article even offers some tailored advice with regional implementation strategies. What stands out there?
Yeah, it gets practical and specific. For Wisconsin operations, for example, the advice is to leverage the state's extensive succession resources and directly address that big 49% successor identification gap.
Focus on finding the next generation.
And heavily on financial capacity assessment, can the operation truly support both generations? Wisconsin's deep cooperative infrastructure is also highlighted as a unique strength.
Okay, Upper Midwest.
For Upper Midwest producers, with 1/3 already over 65, time is absolutely critical. Prioritize immediate succession conversations and quickly assemble their professional team. The demographic clock is ticking faster there.
Get moving now.
Right. The article also suggests considering seasonal timing, noting that successful transitions often begin planning discussions during the winter months when operational demands are lighter, allowing for more focused thought.
Use the downtime wisely.
And for all regions, a small but notable regulatory detail: FDA's FSMA food traceability requirements have been extended to July 2028. Provides a 30-month extension. This takes some immediate pressure off during transition periods, giving families a bit more time to get compliance systems in order while also navigating succession. Every bit helps.
So where does this all lead? And why does it matter so profoundly to your operation? The Bullvine article clearly states we're at an inflection point.
The turning point.
Decisions made in the next 18 months, it says, will determine the very structure of American dairy for the next 50 years. That's a profound statement, highlighting the immense gravity of the situation.
It truly is. It highlights that the families who recognize this and act accordingly will be the ones to write the next chapter of our industry. Those who wait for perfect conditions or hope somebody else will solve it are going to become footnotes in someone else's expansion story.
Ouch. Footnotes.
The Bullvine article insists that the 16.5% of families who successfully navigate multi-generational transfers aren't lucky, they're prepared.
Prepared, not lucky.
They start early, communicate openly and consistently, invest wisely in professional guidance, and treat succession as a multi-year strategic process, not a single rushed transaction.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. The article reiterates that unique window of opportunity we just discussed. Stable prices, manageable fee, cooperating rates, tax relief. But it cautions again that these favorable conditions won't last forever and the underlying demographic pressure isn't going away.
The clock is still ticking.
Families who act decisively in 2025 can structure transitions that preserve wealth, maintain operational control, and foster family harmony for generations. Those who delay will likely join the thousands of operations already absorbed by industry consolidation.
So the Bullvine article leaves us with a stark but manageable choice. It says, begin comprehensive succession planning now or risk your operation becoming an acquisition target for families who have already done so.
Yeah, plan or be planned for.
And the ultimate question for your operation, for you listening today, is simple. Will you engineer your succession or will market forces engineer it for you?
Heavy stuff.
So Jake, after all that, for our listeners today, what are the absolute most important synthesized takeaways from this deep dive? What should they be thinking about and doing differently right now?
Okay, yeah, let's boil it down. The core actionable insights really mean a strategic shift for every dairy producer.
Okay.
First, And fundamentally, view every operational efficiency from genomic testing to automated systems not just as a cost-saving measure, but as a direct, essential investment in your farm's succession viability.
Efficiency equals future-proofing.
Exactly. For example, implementing genomic testing with its high heritability for feed efficiency delivers measurable ROI within 24 months. Start with your replacement heifers this breeding season. Leverage current cash flow.
Use the tech. Show the ROI.
Second, understand that technology adoption is your farm's competitive advantage in attracting and retaining the next generation. Farms using robotics and automated feeding see 25-35% labor cost reductions, which translates directly to the critical work-life balance that attracts successors. This isn't just about output, it's about making the lifestyle sustainable.
Tech for quality of life. Got it.
Third, prioritize data-driven decisions over emotional family drama. Using precision ag tools to show 15-20% productivity gains gives you concrete numbers to justify transition investments. Showing clear ROI shifts planning from emotional to logical.
Numbers talk.
Fourth, scale smart, not just big. While milk production concentrates in larger operations, those 2,500 plus cow farms control 46%. Now, mid-size farms must leverage every genomic and tech advantage to improve their cost per hundredweight.
Compete on efficiency, not just size.
That's a key survival strategy, ensuring you remain competitive without necessarily needing to become a mega farm. And finally, the most successful transitions happen when you treat your farm as the multi-million-dollar business it is.
Run it like a business.
Professional management, documented performance metrics, genomic records, efficiency tracking, that's the hallmark of farms successfully transitioning. It's an urgent call to adopt this professional mindset because that's the rigor and foresight that ensures your operation's future, making succession inevitable, not optional.
Exactly. It really brings us back to the Bovine article's core message. Too many operations aren't profitable enough to be worth passing down.
Right. Make it worth it first.
The ultimate goal isn't just to plan for succession. It's to make your operation so profitable, so viable, and so attractive that succession becomes an obvious, inevitable path forward rather than an uncertain gamble.
Great point, Sarah. And that's probably all the time we have for today's episode.
I think it is.
For more articles and insights on these critical topics, be sure to visit www.thebulvine.com.
Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss our next deep dive. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
And as you reflect on everything we've discussed today, consider this. While the statistics can be daunting, what if the very challenges of succession are also the greatest motivators for innovation and resilience on your farm?
Thanks for listening to the Bovine Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. Join us next time for more expert analysis and inspiring stories. Until then, keep leading the herd forward and stay curious.